Saturday. I need to put my watch on. Saturday, the 6th of September. Hope we're all doing extremely well. Now, I've had some messages today from a very good source, a very good friend of mine. So today, let me know how you're doing. Let me know what you're up to. Last night's show was hilarious. I have to say, these evening shows are doing amazingly well in terms of the chat. Is fantastic, absolutely amazing. Now I wanted to bring something into the community today, as I say, from a good source. I've got it all up, and I'll go through some Fabrizio stuff. So Fabrizio has I'll give you the background on this as well. What are we doing in the chat? Hello, welcome everybody today. Let me know what the signal's like on here today, because I've just got some new internet installed, and I don't know how good the actual internet is today. It should be okay. So I've upgraded the broadband, so hopefully this should be really good. So, my fate. Evan Ferguson hat trick tonight, mate. Let's see what he does. Good player, I think. Interesting to see sort of young players, these young guns, especially as he's gone to Roma as well. So fingers crossed, and I hope he does well. So Baleba is back on the scene. I'll give you. I've got to give my source a massive shout out. Absolute legend, and I'll give Scott. I hope you're doing really well as well. So Baleba back on the scene. So there's some news, and I think it's going to break. I do think that there'll be breaking in terms of all the other bigger channels will go on this one. We'll go first. I really have to give my source a massive thank you and a big up to all this sort of stuff. So what I'm going to go through first. What was the new badge I got this morning, JB? I don't know. I should do. I don't know what badge is that, my friend. Let me know what the badge is. I've been tinkering around, not really been tinkering around too much, so I'll be interested to see what the badge is. I have been doing some stuff in the background of founding members. There you go. A founding members badge. There you go. You see, so that you're gonna have that, a founding member of this community, and nobody can take that away from you. You know, the first to Turkey, exactly. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. So I'm going to give you some of the quotes. I'm going to give you some of the stuff. I've got it to the side of me. So breaking news from Man United Press. Now, Man United Press, going to give you this, and you can tell me, and then this has sort of been backed up a little bit by Fabrizio Romano. So the United Press, big shout out to them. 9.9k followers on X, so take that as you will. Mike says it's been nearly 10 years from Ireland. We're in a tournament. I see England had no issues last night. Wales as well. I mean, I'm Welsh, right? So my fight is Wales, and we're top of our group. So England will do well, I think. So exactly, Scott. So I'm going to come out with all the bits and pieces that I know. I've been sent some stuff. Been sent some stuff by a very good friend of mine, by a good source. Bobby says hi. Hello, Bobby. JB likes to fight sheep. Often likes to fight sheep, mate. There are some obviously names for us Welsh lads. I can say, is it true? It's not true from me, but I wouldn't put it past a lot of people that I know. It wouldn't surprise me. Maybe I'm different. So Baleba, I'm going to read you this quote United Press, big up to them. Follow them on X. So I was sent this. So Brighton midfielder, exactly, Scott. So Baleba has told club owner Tony Bloom and head coach, is it Herzler, that he wants to join United. In the January window, a gentleman's agreement has been signed to ensure a smooth move. Now that has come from Sky Sports, and they are re-quoting it. So Wayne says, "I thought I would say hello, got flu." Wayne, I hope you're doing well. As we all know, Wayne, and this is a fact. This is not fiction. We all know flu, and particularly man flu, is the worst of its kind. So I am there with you. I hope you recover. I hope that you're feeling better. I hope if there is somebody there to look after you, to mop your brow, mate, because I man flu is a real thing. So, mate, I hope you're feeling well. Obviously, it's a joke, but flu is horrible. I genuinely hope that you're feeling well, my friend. So, thank you for saying hi. This cheers you up in any way, shape, or form, then thank you for being here. So I'll read that again. Scott says, "I don't believe." Hi, OB, legend of the chat, my friend. So again, a really good source of mine, absolute legend. Very, 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 very kind legend. Sends me stuff, so I'll go through a load of those that I've been sent today. Big up to my source. They know who they are. Absolute legends. So United Press, big up to them. Check them out on X. So Brighton midfielder Baleba has told club owner Tony Bloom and head coach Fabian Herzler that he wants to join United in the January window. A gentleman's agreement has been signed to ensure a smooth move. Now, I think that's positive. As I said when I was away and when the Baleba stuff broke the last time, I was of the opinion that this was true. It comes to pass, that 55 mil bid and that kind of stuff. Now you might be thinking to yourselves, people can break and say whatever they like to say. Now, interestingly enough, I want to read you something else as well from United _forever7. Anything can happen overnight and change, but it's true. Exactly, OB, exactly. Our top priority for the January or summer window. Semenyo, Bathsheba, and also on the radar too. Exactly, OB. And everything can change, right? But the more that I start to read this and obviously read the stuff that I've been sent, the more and more that I'm starting to believe that there's something in this. Now, and I'll read you some of these quotes as well. So to go back to that quote, and I will go back to it, and I'll go back into this one as well. So United Press, Brighton midfielder has told club owner Tony Bloom and head coach Herzler that he wants to join United in the January window. A gentleman's agreement has been signed. So the January window. Now, the reason why, I'll give you my logical opinion. Well, I say that it is, but this is based on my opinion. I'll follow it up with this as well. So, according to Fabrizio, okay, quoted by United _forever7. So apparently Baleba is very, very, very high on. We still have money, exactly. So he's very, very high on the list for summer 2026. Okay. Baleba wanted to join United even without UEFA Champions League football. Ruben Amorin and the whole board are obsessed with him. Baleba will remain a target. So we have our Danny B, big up my friend. OB, yes, we do. Not keen on the international football, prefer Premier League. Exactly. So when you're looking at Fabrizio, obviously a quote from Fabrizio and United Press saying that there's an agreement for the January window. Now, when you look at those, so logically, this is where I'm on it. Gyökeres had a gentleman's agreement, got his move. I hope it happens. OB. So logically, right, this is where I'm at on it, and why I'm starting to believe that, irrespective of this move, that United want this player. Now, the reason why, when you combine the following, is that number one, they want this player. They really, really like this player. I think that is true. Now, Fabrizio is obviously coming out and saying that they are impressed. So who is that midfielder who we linked to? Who is that midfielder who we linked with who moved to Saudi this summer? I can't remember, mate. I can't remember. Somebody will know. Biggest Saudi transfer 2025. Somebody might know. Bruno to Saudi. Retegui, potentially. Is he the midfielder guy? Maybe. So Felix has gone, Hernandez has gone. Maybe not him. Not in Jan. Sorry, I meant summer. Someone called Fernandez. Let's have a little look. Enzo Melo, Balco, Martinez, Inigo Martinez, Lacazette's gone, Weirgo's gone. Don't know, mate. Don't know. Let's have a look. Fernandez. Let's have a look. Nothing on that, mate. I can't find anything on that at all. Alioshban, hello, my friend. I'm very well. I hope you are too. Someone called Fernandez. On about Roger Fernandez. Yes, Danny, he's a wing back. Right, wing back. Now that makes a little bit more sense. So if you have just joined, get in, give us a like, favourite and subscribe, and I will go over it again once more, and then we can start talking about why I think this is a and I'll give you my logical opinion behind it. You tell me what you guys think, as you always do. As I say, and you guys know, I'll also say I'm not a dictator of this chat. I'll give you my opinion just because I'm here. You come back, you give me your opinions, I will read your opinions, and let's get into it. So my very good source today, absolute legend of person. They know who they are. Always appreciate their stuff. I'd shout them out, but I won't at this point. But I will shout their work out and their kindness out at sending me some stuff. So what I got sent today, again, was that, and I'll come back to that one. So let's go back to the main one. So United Press. So United _press. Breaking news. Good afternoon, nice gigs. Thank you, DL. Brighton midfielder Baleba has told owner Tony Bloom and head coach Fabian Hürzeler that he wants to join United in the January window. A gentleman's agreement has been signed to ensure a smooth move. Now, in my opinion, whether that is accurate or not, so that's coming from Sky Sport PL. Now, whether that is true or not, I do think there's something in this, and I'll give you my opinion on that as well. Whether or not that happens, I still think that this is a move that United want to do. And I think the 55 offer was us presenting some sort of offer. Casemiro, Bruno, and possibly Manu out of the next few windows. That's 3 mids, leave us with Ugarte. Even if you don't get Baleba, we're still short in the midfield. Exactly. Danny B, I think if we sold Malacia and got transfer fee for Sancho, we would have bought him Scott. He's still young and we still need have eyes on him. Someone says, afternoon, brother. Maximum respect. That is greetings from Cape Town. Maximum respect. So with that, so yeah, you can take that as a pinch of salt. And then Fabrizio has then followed up United _forever 7. Big shout out to them. Quote tweeting Fabrizio. Baleba, or quoting Fabrizio's podcast, Baleba is very, very, very high on United list for 2026. List for summer 2026. So, looks like we're going to try to do that deal then. Baleba wanted to join even without Champions League, which is always a good sign. Amorin and the whole board are obsessed with him, which is good. Baleba will be a target for United, which I think is fantastic. And then what else we've got? So we've got a post from @United Faithfuls. So this one, they have a 517,000 followers. So quite a big X platform. So absolute big up to them as well. So Baleba remains United's ideal for 2026. Ruben Amorin considers him the perfect player for the next steps of the project. His name has been approved by the coach, recruitment team, and the manager. So, who do you think will be a better fit, Wharton or Baleba? I think the pair of them. I think we need them both. Just trying to see anything else. Okay, so I think we need them both. I'll give you my opinion on that first. So I think we are in for him. I think that there's a gentleman's agreement, possibly. Obviously, Tranfer submitted a bid for Onana. That would be let's have a little look at that as well. Might as well cover all these things off while we are live. So Spur for Onana. Get on that on there as well. Can't see anything about that just yet, but it doesn't mean. But again, I'll take that. I agree with you. Let's have a little look. I'm reconnected just quickly, then just have to read something. Yeah. So again, this is all coming in as well. And so there are lots of different things. So do I believe? Thank you very much, OB legend. So do I think ultimately that we're going to try to do the Baleba deal in the January window? I think will be very, very difficult to do. I do think that we will go back. Do I think there's a gentleman's agreement to specifically come to the club? I don't know. I don't know why, and this is not me questioning that. I hope it's 100% too. No, I question it because why would Brighton? It would have to be a substantial amount of money. Why would Brighton? Jay says, Danny B, if it was a DOF, I would bring in Roger Fernandez without thinking it's risk of signing, not because he's so good. I'd sell Delo, promote Man Utd, and that covers that. Yeah, potentially. Man Utd, I can't say I was overly impressed. Doesn't mean he didn't get lots and lots of game time. I can't say I was overly impressed with him from what I saw of him. But again, he needs some more game time, so it's very, very difficult to assess a player. I think I haven't watched a lot of the under 21s. I should probably watch that a little bit more for context of these young players. But again, it's very, very difficult to gauge how good players are at that level, and then coming into the club. Mbeumo's goal against Burnley has been voted the goal of the month. Amazing. So it should. I think we need to start getting these accolades for our players, no matter how small they are. Animish says, hello, my friend. 3 keepers now. How's it? I think Onana's going to go. We've currently got 4 keepers as well. Heaton, Onana, Binda, and obviously the men's as well. One of them will go. I think that Onana will probably be the one to go, to be honest. Simo B_SW says, hi. Hello, my friend. I hope you're really, really, really well today. So the Baleba stuff, if you have just joined, I will read it out again and go through it again. So legendary source sending some stuff through. United underscore press. And says, well, I already counted out Nana asking about the rest of the three. Fair enough. Lamens for me needs to be the one that's in goal. I think Binder, unless I think Amorin just throws caution to the wind, which he doesn't seem to be that sort of manager. Binder, I think, will go in goal until he makes a mistake or until he's happy with Lamens, and then basically Lamens then will come in and start to do stuff, I think.
I've had an idea. Put the booster in there.
Okay. Yeah. So just the other half there, just randomly opening the door. I'd make a biggest mistake when signing Sancho. It could be Isak. Isak was mentioned by Ranić. Ranić mentioned him. The club decided not to listen to him. So, Cyber, you are correct. We should have signed Isak, but at the time, nobody was listening to the school teacher at the time. So this club has failed on many occasions. I think you're right, but ifs, buts, and maybes. We have Eddie Blakey says, "Yo, hello, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely well." So for those of you who just joined, just smash that like button. It really does help us out. So again, I'll go over the Baleba stuff. So Baleba possibly in the next window. Now this would go to what somebody says. So breaking news. This is from Man United underscore press. Check them out on X. Not loads of followers, quite a small account, but they are quoting Sky Sport PL. Brighton midfielder Baleba has told club owner Tony Bloom and head coach Fabian Hurst that he wants to join United in the January window. A gentleman's agreement has been agreed, been signed to ensure smooth. A gentleman's agreement has been signed, obviously to ensure a transition that's smooth. Now, we can talk about that bit. Now, this has been followed up by Fabrizio Romano. This has been quoted from his podcast by United underscore Forever 7. Carlos Baleba is very high on United's list for summer 26. Baleba wanted to join United even without UEFA Champions League football. Ruben Amorin and the whole board are obsessed with him, and Baleba will remain a target for him. Danny B says, I knew you liked him. It was a loan deal we could have easily have done. Exactly. Baseball. Haaland also. Exactly, Cyber. Baseball was bad first game for Brighton. How old is Baleba? Baleba's 21, isn't he? 21. Cyber, you okay? You okay if in the future United break the bank? 125 for Elise? No, not for me. No, not for me. Cyber, you're right. Haaland could have been signed twice. So Haaland could have been signed when he played for Ollie, and we said no. At that point, he could have been signed for cheap as chips. He then went to, I think, was it Leipzig or whoever, Salzburg or whoever he went to next. Basically, when they bought him, there was a release clause that United could have bought him again there for about £17 million. So United messed up twice on that deal. Yeah, well done for deleting that, Wally. Get them out. Haaland doesn't fit us. I agree with you. Tulip Place says, hi JB, hello. Scott says, what if someone like PSG or Barcelona or Madrid come in for Baleba in the window? Exactly. So because Liverpool target Elise for Salah replacement. Sadly, we can't get into that race. Elise for me is not worth 125 million. You can argue, you can obviously you can argue that opinion. That's my opinion. Elise looks very good in the Bundesliga. But lots of players do. Sancho looked good in that league. You know, you can argue that Shesko looked good in that league, and this is not me like having a pop at Shesko. He looked good in that league. Wirtz looked good in that league as well. So just because they look good in that league doesn't necessarily mean that translates into the Premier League. But Elise has played in the Premier League before, so I think the reason for me Salah has been so good and worked so well, not only because he's been good, but because his price tag was low. So if you let's just say Liverpool had got Elise from Palace at that time for that price, and then he ended up pulling in those numbers, then I'd be just like, that's a fantastic deal. 125 million. I think again we're starting to set a precedent if Liverpool start paying that for those sorts of players. For me, it's a no in terms of that price, but we're never going to get into that race. I like the player. I would 100% go for the player, but not at that price. Baleba in Jan would be great, but I don't see it happening unless we can sell Casemiro. Exactly, Messi will win the Ballon d'Or. I don't see how. Kellner says Gio. I don't know. Remove answer save Europe. Don't get into all that, my friend. So I'm going to remove that comment. Why would we go for Elise? We have more than enough attackers. Exactly. Eddie, thoughts on us buying João Neves from PSG? Eddie, I mean, my friend, coming up with some good players. I might as well say, and I will answer the question. I might as well just say, look, why don't we go get Vinicius Junior? Why don't we go get this? Right? We're never getting him. Neves is a fantastic player, absolutely fantastic player. We had an opportunity to get him, but we funded the PSG. Right? We absolutely funded PSG's move for him. We are never getting him. And the only way we get him is basically if he flops. We had our chance with Neves. We absolutely messed up. We got Ugarte and then basically paid for them to get that deal done. So we're never getting him. Liverpool play two up front or Ekitike on the left. JB have to go. Remember, everything can change in football. We are just reporting what has been said on sources. Exactly. Other public sources doesn't mean 100% exactly OB. And that's what I wanted to stress as well. As we know, everything can change. But just reporting the news on here, just what's out there, giving you my opinion on it and you guys as well. Cyber always says Elise or Semenya or Leao should be United main target. I don't think they should be the main target. Cyber. I again respect that opinion. Elise for me is going to be too expensive. Semenya potentially, but we've got. I think we are interested in that player, but whilst we've got the profile of players that we have, unless we sell players, I don't think Leao for me, no, I don't like him. I think he blows hot and cold. Elise, he'd be welcome. Semenya, fine, but I don't think those are our main targets. Our main target is going to be a centre midfielder. Jay says Liverpool might not even be in for Baleba because they need a DM, and with the way they are moving this summer. Wirtz has been terrible first few games. The media don't talk about it. Imagine if we'd signed someone in. Exactly, Chile. The fact that what we're doing, right, is we've signed Shesko and they're already slating Shesko after 3 games, right? Bearing in mind Shesko hasn't played. He basically hasn't started. 68 million, so basically half the price. And Wirtz is 117 million. They would be crucifying us. Ronaldo to win the 2026 World Cup. Don't think so, Scott. Animish, what is your squad picture behind you? That is the 91-92 season. It's going to go up on the wall, so when all this gets changed next week, It's going to go up on the wall. That's my 91, 92. I do have a, don't know where the thing is now, but it's got the names in it. So the reason why that poster, and I've explained this, and if you've not been here before, then you should. I'm kidding, of course. That poster is special. That's not the actual poster, but is a replica of the actual poster that I had. So when I was about 9, I put that poster. So I got that poster in a magazine called Match. Back in the day, I used to get posters in it. It was the football. It was huge, right? Magazine used to come out every week. Fantastic. And they had that on there. Now, I put that up. I put it up, put it in a frame, put it up. We lost after I put it up. So just before I put that up, we just lost the league to Leeds. I put it up, Cantona signed, and then we start to win the league. So that's my lucky poster that I put up on the wall, and I will put it up on the wall. And ever since that, we started to win the league. I don't know what happened to it, but it was on my wall for a really, really long time. So that is a lucky poster. So once it goes up, it's in his frame, so it is there. That is my good luck poster. Never Shipped has said, I agree with you. I've just seen the Irish news. Brendan Bradley, Ireland's all-time top scorer with 235 goals. The Irish Pele. Does anyone know who he played for? Brendan Bradley. Does anyone know who he played for? The Irish Pele. I'm sad to say I have no idea. I'd have to look it up. I guess. Well, give us a clue, Martin. Give us a clue. Eddie Blake says Semenya is who we don't need. And says we need to sell a plethora of strikers. That's a great word. Get a statement winger. Jason Knight from Bristol City. I don't know. If England don't win it, I'd be happy for Portugal to win the World Cup. Yeah, I don't. Will England win it? I don't know. But you do have to factor in Wales. I mean, you do have to factor in Wales. You know, that is all I'm saying. You know, Wales can be the dark horse of the World Cup. You know, I'm kidding. If we were to get Semenya, he would play right wing back. Exactly. I don't think he's the right player. The media is ridiculous, says Steve C. I agree. Brother has a bunch of match and shoot magazines and books. Oh, good old Leeds. I love they sold me my team, Rafinha, the beauty. Simon sees Clinton, Premier League goal machine, saying the jury's out on Shesko before he's even started a game. Exactly. Portugal have the team to win the World Cup. Of Argentina won it with a much worse team and can. Yeah, I think, thinking about it, now you've made that point. The problem I think that Portugal will have, as long as they don't start Cristiano, I love the lad, he's 40 years old, as long as they don't start him, I think they'll be fine. I think they've got a better chance. Suarez given a 6-match ban for spitting incident, absolute sewer. Honestly, he's just unbelievable. Him and Jamie C should have like a spitting match. Never heard of Bradley. Wales get out. They never win it. No, Eddie, don't sleep on Wales. Don't forget they got to a semi-final, quarter-final against Portugal. You should have won it, mate. Never sleep on Wales, mate. You know, that's if Wales managed to get there. Maybe if they replaced the ball with a sheep, then maybe they could win it. Look, guys. Right, I am Welsh. That's all I'm saying. Right, is I've got to be patriotic to my country, and to be fair, Wales did get to it was a semi-final. We lost to Portugal, but that's all I'm saying. You know, do not sleep on Wales. Spain is the best. Spain is the best place. Actually, the young guns will mature even more. Germany beaten 2-0 on Thursday in Slovakia. They won't be expecting that exactly. The Finn Harps. This was a one-hit wonder. JB Wells don't make a deep run into our lifetime again. Look, I've got to believe. Okay, I have to believe. A tough team from Dunga Irish League is tough, mate. I'm sad to say my knowledge on Irish football is not very good. It's embarrassing, really. Yeah, Suarez should have been allowed to play again, and Cavani when he was at United shouldn't have been allowed. I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think what he did to Evra, I mean, scumbag. So Baleba, I'll give you my opinion on Baleba again. Maybe gets a little bit boring at times. Cavani is nowhere near Suarez. Is Cavani anywhere near Suarez? I don't think it's a difficult one. Cavani, yeah. Cavani was, yeah. Suarez is a repeat offender, racist spitter, diver. I think racism at any level, at any, you can spit, you can Shamrock Rovers, you can Liam Mills. We saw on Cavani. It's true. Racism has absolutely no place in the world, and I think I think allegedly. I think we have to say allegedly. I think is the right thing to say because you can't accuse people of that, whether or not it is being reported, unless you hear it said. You have to put it as an alleged offence. So if that was true, I think I can deal. It's not right. I think spitting is disgusting. I think doing that is disgusting. But racism, I think, is the poison of this world, and anyone that's linked to that and has any connotations or linked into that, absolute no time for him. Prime Cavani was close. They both let United and Liverpool down. We could read his lips. It's pretty clear. I'm not talking about their ability. I'm responding to Harry. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm agreeing on that one. So the Baleba stuff. Where am I ultimately? So give me your opinions on the stuff. So do I think that there's a gentleman's agreement in place? And again, we need to caveat all this with that this is just news. Okay, so we are responding to the news, responding to tweets, or responding to some stuff. But there's no doubt that, thank you, Tulip, there is no doubt that we want this player. Do you like rugby? I do. Not the biggest fan these days in terms of, because the rugby in Wales is awful. I'll always watch them. Greenwood, respect. Not for me, Eddie. Not for me. The alleged incident. I get all of that stuff. Everyone heard what they heard. Everyone, as has heard the tapes. Mason, I'm not scared to talk about that on here. Eddie, I disagree. Is he a changed man? You can't say that in terms of, well, you can say it and you can have that opinion. I'm not going to dispute that opinion. People can have their opinions on people, and people are allowed to change. All I will say on that is that I hope you're right. I hope for his career, and I hope because he's a dad now, I think, isn't he? So I just hope that he's learnt from that mistake. I hope that he's moved on from that mistake. I hope he's a better person. Do I believe that somebody should be punished for past stuff that's happened? Obviously, depending on the things that they've done. He should be allowed to rehabilitate. He should be allowed to go on and show that he's changed. But I don't want him anywhere near this club. I'm not his biggest fan. That's personal opinion. people can have their opinions on it. You know, there is a redemption arc to be had here. There is a redemption story for him to do it, but he's got to do it for him. So a young man, I don't believe young men should be, you know, tied down in chains for the rest of their life because they make a mistake. Obviously, it depends on that mistake. There are some crimes I would never forgive myself, but I think that young men shouldn't be, you know, held accountable for their past sins for their whole life. We all change, you know, different ages. I'm not the same person at 42 I was when I was 35. I'm not the same. I wasn't the same person at 35 as I was when I was 22. So, you know, people should be allowed to make certain mistakes, move on from those mistakes, and change. So, Eddie, I take the point. I think it's a very, very good point to make. Lima says, Sagreema did what he did. He needed to move on. For him, what a waste. But exactly. I doubt Brighton would be giving him an agreement at this stage. Steve C, I agree. Baleba has almost fallen off a cliff, or just injury protection. I think he's fallen off a cliff. Greenwood was a fantastic player. I don't disagree. Back you, when I was an emo, JB. Back then when you was an emo. I was an emo, mate. Honestly, I just... Emo JB was, yeah, interesting times that was. What's the news, Sam? Okay, so I'll go through it again. Lincolnshire Town, he played for, mate. Brendan Bradley, give him a quick check. I certainly will. I will find that picture. I've got that picture somewhere. I'll find it. I'm a Baleba, so I'll give you the new Sam again. I don't mind. So, sent to me by a good source. So, breaking news: Man United _ press. I'll tell you the source. So it's a good source for me. They're pretty accurate, and they have been, and they just give me the news. They give me the odd little tweet. They alert me to things that are said. So Jason Knight as well. Cool. And they give me stuff, and reporting the news, they get stuff as well. So then they give that to me. Has Baleba done anything really to warrant 100k price tag? Steve, you could argue this, right? It's just an opinion piece, but this is backed up by Fabrizio as well. So this is the gentleman's agreement bit isn't backed up. I'll give you that first, and then I will come back into the chat as well, right? So, breaking news: Brighton midfielder has told club owner Tony Bloom and head coach Fabian Herzler that he wants to join United in the January window. A gentleman's agreement has been signed to ensure a smooth move. Okay, that's what's come out there. And then Fabrizio sort of followed this up with Baleba is very, very high on United's list for 2026. Eddie Blakely, do you have children? Yes, I have 3 children. Baleba wanted to join United even without Champions League football. Ruben Amorin and the whole board of directors are obsessed with him, and Baleba will remain a target for United. Now, I'll give you my opinion on this, and then I'll go through this as well. Do I think there's a deal in principle? Do I think that there's an agreement in place? If there is an agreement in place, okay, so one of them was from United, Man United, one word, _ press on X, quote tweeting or quote Xing, as it says, Sky Sport PL. Now, you can take that as you wish, Sky Sport. Kira says, hi, Green Legend, do you like cricket? I'm not the biggest cricket fan, I have to say. I don't mind the Ashes, don't mind 2020, like the county stuff. No, so it depends really. It's a little bit of a hit and miss for me. And then the other thing to follow that up with is Manchester. So he's at United _ forever 7. That's from Fabrizio. So, do I think that there's a gentleman's agreement if there is, what's more of an vital? Mohin says, what's more of a vital investment, CDM or keeper? Well, we've got a keeper, so I think CDM. But we don't play with a CDM. People need to get that out of their minds right now, is that we play two centre midfielders. You can have one as more of a defensive midfielder, if you like, but we don't play with a CDM anymore. We play two centre midfielders. I've been sent some stuff by some sporting fans, and we don't. I've been told to stop thinking of a CDM, like a CDM. We don't play with CDMs. We play with centre midfielders. Hence why the Baleba stuff is important. So, what's your alcohol beverage of choice, JB? Or I don't drink a lot, but when I do, I'm quite fond of a vodka and something or other. But you know, you can't just whack out that. So I quite like an IPA. I quite like a BrewDog. Steve C. Yes, it is, my friend. It is the 9190. It's the 9091. Mine is a Corona with a lime wedge. Oh, Corona, man. I don't mind a Corona on like a hot day, but I find it a little bit not dry, but just a little bit. There's just no taste to it. So I like an IPA. I do like a punk IPA. I do like I like and it's called an Elvis juice, which is a grapefruit sort of beer. Guinness as well. Martin, I am with you as well. Guinness as well. I do love a Guinness. I'd probably say, Martin, I'm with you. Guinness is probably my sort of staple. It's not too high. It's not bad for you as well. I mean, 8 pints is. But yeah, I think we should play a back four. Eddie, I don't disagree, but I don't think Amorin will. So, what do I think of this agreement? I think there is an agreement in place, but I think the agreement is that he can leave, not that he can specifically come to us at a price. Now, unless Baleba basically said, I will not play for any other club, I'll only come to us, then that makes us a one-horse race. That's the only way I believe that we get him. To get him in the January window, I think we need to stump up a lot of money, because why would Brighton? I don't think Brighton will agree a price. Brighton are going to want a price war. That is exactly what Brighton will want, is some sort of price war. Do I think we are going to go for him? Yes, I do. Do I think that we will get him? I don't know. If his mindset is coming to this club, then I think we will. But just going back on the original tweet, that there is an agreement. So there is an agreement in the January window. A gentleman's agreement has been signed to ensure a smooth move. Do I think that that's true? And bearing in mind, this is news. This is what's coming out there, and I'm reporting on that, and I'm giving you my opinion on that. I don't think that there's. I do think there is some substance, and I do think he's back on. I don't think he's dead. I don't think there is an agreement in place. I just don't. Great season, 91. 91, 92. I think we lost to West Ham away, I think, and that's why we didn't win the league or something along those lines. And then Leeds, Guinness is for our men. Nah, Guinness is for champions. Eddie Bat says, okay, good program on Rotterdam on MUTV. I'll have to give that a check. Not that I sub to MUTV or anything. So Baleba, do I think that there's a agreement in place for us? I'd be very, very surprised and very shocked if there was. If there is, it's going to be an extortionate amount of money. Do I think it can be done? Yes, because of the money that we saved, the money that we've gotten in. Do I think that that's possible? Yes. I do think this will be kicked down the road to 2026. We drew at West Ham, yeah. Exactly. If I knew we drew or we'd lost to the Hammers. The Hammers were like a bogey team. So I think that we are in for him. I think we have 300 million credit. Apparently, we have 300 million credit facility. Why didn't we use it to get him? That would be a question of mine. So I do think he's back on the radar. In fact, I don't think he's ever left the radar. I do think the bid and the smoke screen in the summer window was that. I think we do want him. I just think we can get it done. I have some Guinness later, lads. I wish you all the best. Thank you, my friend. I eat mango. Hello. I hope you're doing well, and obviously you quite like mango. I do think we're there. I think anything's possible. Do I think that there's substance in this? Yes, I do. I do think there is substance in this breaking news. Whether or not there's an agreement in place, it was horrible. Liverpool beat us 2-0 at Anfield prior to that game. It's always awful when they beat us. And then Leeds. Obviously, Liverpool beating us, and then another rival in Leeds. Obviously, winning the league. But I eat mango. Bye. Okay, goodbye. Thank you for the message, Joe. So Baleba, for me, I think he's back. I think he's back on the radar. And the fact that Fabrizio, and I'll read you that, Fabrizio, obviously he's been quoted, is very, very high on the list. Baleba wanted to join without any Champions League football. Amorin and the whole board are obsessed with him. Baleba remain a target. Now, you could argue it's spin. I'll always say this: be careful of spin, because let me tell you for why, and I've got to be logical and balanced on this as well. What is your favourite meat? That's a little bit of a personal question. My favourite meat, I know. My favourite meat is steak. Has to be steak. Steak all of the way. No other meat compares to steak. So going all through that, I do think there is substance, but what we all have to be careful of, and I have to remain balanced on this, is this spin. United, as we know, as a revenue source, and whenever you think about this club, you have to think about a what is it they do. So this has obviously been fed to Fabrizio. Okay, they know that this window hasn't been the best window. They're getting scrutinised for the window. We've not had the best start. The players have done okay, but we've not had the best start. Who else will be in for Baleba next summer? City, Liverpool. I think all of the big clubs will be in. Steve C, I think will be in that race. I think they'll all be in it. I mean, if you've got a player like that, I think somebody made the comment about why is he worth like 100 million. When you think about a centre midfielder of that type with the stats that he has, there's no coincidence that Casido was 115 million, Declan Rice was 100 million. Now, the reason for that, in my opinion, this is just an opinion, is that if you think about football, right, everybody wants to be a striker, right? Everybody wants to be a winger. Everybody wants to be a goalkeeper. You can sort of argue that, right? So when you've got somebody tall, typically they want to be a keeper. Typically, so most people want to be a striker. Most people want to be a winger. Then you probably get taller people will probably either be a keeper or a centre back. Nobody wants to be a right back, left back. Nobody wants to be a centre midfielder, particularly a centre midfielder destroyer type. So what that then means, that translates into, is that when the kids get older, there's always a surplus, or there's always strikers out there. There's always a winger out there. There's always a centre back out there. There's always a keeper out there. World class or very good left backs, right backs. That's why you now start to see you getting you pay more for those because there's not a lot of them. There's even less of a destroyer, ball carrying, ball winning, all round centre midfielder. This is why Casido is so much money. This is why Rice is so much money. This is why. This is why, effectively, is because the pool of centre midfielders, world class or potential world class centre midfielders. This is why Wharton is like a high price as well, because there are not a lot of them, and then there are not a lot of that world class, really good type of centre midfielder as well. Onana should be at Barcelona, so that's why he's like. So that's why he is 100 million, is because he's that type, and you can see it. You know, you look at a Makalele in this market, he would now be £100 million player easily. He'd now be, you know, you're looking at a Diarra when he was at Real Madrid. He would have probably been like £100 million player. You can look at those sorts of players; they'd all be 100 million now because they're so pivotal, and the way that football's changed and the way that football's gone, destroyers and those centre midfielders, those ball carrying, ball winning, good all round players, centre midfield players, because of the way the game's gone, those players would now be even more pivotal. So that's why they are now. I do not think that there is an agreement in place to come to us. Brighton won a bidding war. I would be amazed. The only way that there is an agreement in place is if we've agreed to pay something ridiculous. Also, there may be an agreement in place because the player will go, look, I only want to come to you guys. That's it. We also, the other factor that we need to consider, and I will be balanced on this is spin. Okay. Now, what we've got to understand, and I've understood this early doors, is that what you've got to realise is that United are all about money. They're all about cash. Okay. So when you've got a big following on Instagram, big following on X, big following on whatever you do, social platforms, you get paid for that. So as a revenue stream, what you have to remember is we are Spinechester. There is that as well. So what you have to understand is that during the football season, during the normal kind of like the normal match days, is that there are goals, there are topics. You know, players can be insulted, players can be praised. You know, there's goals to see, there's talking points. So they're always being spoken about. There's always posts. There's always all sorts of stuff. Now, international window is very, very quiet. So United as a business, what you do in your business, you try to maximise profit. You try to maximise your exposure, your optics. So you want people to look at you. And how do you do that? Is you put stories out there. You feed stories. Now, Fabrizio, for example, now whatever you think about Fabrizio, he is the GOAT. He gets tons and tons of stuff. Now, Fabrizio, somebody made a good point, is that Fabrizio doesn't always report necessarily the truth, and he doesn't always support everything. Now, interestingly enough, if you didn't see it, that there's an incident between Messi and a Venezuela player because they won, right? My girlfriend's favourite meat is my man meat. I guarantee, if you ask her, mate, I'm sure she'll just do what. Oh yeah, I can't. If I said that to my missus, she would just go, oh, whatever. Yeah. Scott, you crack me up, my friend. So Fabrizio didn't even mention Messi. Exactly, Scott. Nobody even mentioned hardly that Messi went after this player. Fabrizio tweets about all sorts of stuff, but even Fabrizio doesn't always report everything that happens out there. Now, obviously he is the GOAT, and obviously he is going to report stuff that he gets told from the club. He's been told from the club, but we have to bear this in mind that we are on an international break. There's nothing happening. So this is the reason why. This is the reason why I haven't been going live as much, is because there's not a lot I can cover. Pretty much everything that will happen today, tomorrow in one show. It impacts me because it just basically means that I don't get the views, I don't get the clicks, right? But I can't. If you look at channels, right, who do you support? Amari, I'm not even going to answer that question, because if you don't know by the team behind me, and if you don't know by the channel name, then I'm not even going to say it, mate. I mean, thank you for the chat, but I'm not going to answer that because that's a ridiculousness. So I don't understand how bigger channels can make three shows a day based on the little that's out there. Now, I'm not going to regurgitate stuff just for clicks, right? So bear that in mind. And the reason why I mention that is because United needs to do stuff. So they will create stuff, create tweets, create stuff, so people will still click, okay? And the whole point of that is so then they can make money. And that's why the bigger channels, that's why you will notice Amari. Yeah, but Amari, why am I an arsehole? You've clicked onto the channel. It's obvious what the channel is. I'm not going to say your name because I'm not going to say your name because I'm not stupid. I'm not an arsehole. You've come into the channel's name. I think it's obvious, and I'm not going to waste my time on a channel saying the channel's name. Just idiot. Well, that's offensive. You're not a supporter. That was a joke. Exactly. I mean, anyway. So what we got to understand is the Baleba stuff. Do I think there's substance in it? Yes. Do I think potentially we could have an agreement in place? Yes, I do. But we do need to factor in is that there is spin in place as well. United make revenue and money from platforms. So this is why that they will put all this stuff out there, because there's nothing happening. This is why big channels out there, and I'm not having a pop of them because they're big. They're big because they're very good at the things that they do. But it's it's pretty much the same, is that they're trying to scratch around for stuff, and they'll put things out there that are on the line because there is nothing out there at all. So this is why I probably would do one show a day, because there isn't anything else. So I just think it's really important to be balanced, as potentially as excited as I am and other people are out there as well. I'll be really surprised. I'll be very surprised if other channels now don't lead with this after this. So I did have a little sneaky look to see what the United stand were doing. Had a very sneaky look at some other channels, and nobody has gone. Can you change the settings where the mods can ban people? I'll give that a check. I will check that out, Scott, to see how long you can ban them for as well. Yeah, I think you can change. Yeah. I'll change it over, Scott. Thank you for that, buddy. And I've checked them out. So nobody's mentioned Baleba. Haven't mentioned it yet. I'm sure that they will. The next couple of hours, I think they will, or they'll mention it in some sort of show, because everyone is scratching around for news. So hence, this is why you should turn on subscribers. I should do. I think when Ferguson will start lamenting against City, whereas Amorin will put him on the bench. That's true, JB. alongside Chesko Daz. I agree with you. I think Fergie was a man of risk. I think as much as sometimes he would, maybe go with the very. Fergie was just Fergie knew when to basically roll the dice and when to stick. Amorin, he's getting better at it. He doesn't have his players. You have to risk it for a chocolate biscuit. Exactly, mate. You've got to risk it for a soggy biscuit, Where are you from? I'm from Essex. I'm from England. Well, actually, I'm originally from Wales, but I live in Essex. I'm in England. My friend JB, I know, right? Shocking, isn't it? Absolutely awful. TN King says, "Oh hi, hello, my friend." If you have just joined, I'll go through it again slightly. Jamie Vargas, welcome, my friend, legend, all the way from Texas. Legend. So what we'll do is so this is coming out from United_press, breaking news that Baleba, the Brighton midfielder, has told owner Tony Bloom and head coach Fabian Herzler that he wants to join United in the January window. Gentleman's agreement has been signed to ensure a smooth move. I am 42. I want to support you financially. That's very, very kind. I mean, I've seen Vardy went to Cremona, like however you pronounce that. There is no obligation, and let me say this, right? I am probably the worst person to upsell anything like on here. There are super chats, there are all sorts of stuff on here, mate. So feel free to get involved. There is no obligation from me. I'd be the worst salesperson in the world. My interest on here is to interact with you guys, doing something that I'm passionate about. The only reason why there are super chats and things on here is because you guys have made that happen. Yeah, just feel free to put in a super chat. Feel free to get a badge next to your name. It'd be amazing, but you're under no obligation, and I will always try to read out these chats until it becomes too much. Umrah says, Binder is very bad because the goalkeeper always concede wrong goals in Fenerbahce. Sent, how does United play him? Because we've got Onana in goal, and Onana is awful. He's so bad that Binder has to play. Obu says the only mistake that United board did was to let Ferguson retire without him nurturing someone who would replace him in the long run. Person would be having the Ferguson. Obu. Now, I like that. I do like that thought. I think that's a very intelligent comment to make. I think very, very thoughtful comment to make. The problem is, how do you create a successor? We were never going to replace Fergie. I think the worst thing that we did was listening to him in a replacement. I think the worst thing that we did was trying to replace him. We were always going to get the next manager and compare to Fergie. That was the absolute worst thing that we did. I think the worst thing that we did was let him have a hand in who replaced him. Also, the worst thing that we did before that as well was the Glazers came in. As much as I love Fergie, and I'm never gonna say anything necessarily bad about him, but the reason why we were in the mess that we're in is slightly in part to Fergie. Now, if you don't know the history, and I know this is a different show, but what I'll go into, and people love to beat him with this stick. Now, it's not all of Fergie's fault. Like, how is he going to know? But there was an incident between I want to say, is it McManus, JP McManus, and there was another guy as well, and there were those two pair that run a livery, that run a stable, and there was a horse, the Rock of Gibraltar, I think it was, and they had a horse with Ferguson, but also those two were part of the board as well, were part of the board and then had shares. So there was a disagreement over a couple of millions of pounds, money, and Fergie tried to sue them, and as an act of revenge, what they did was and Ferguson was okay with this as well, was that they sold their shares to the Glazers, to Avram Glazer. Avram then, under the radar, started buying more and more and more shares. And then basically that's how they managed to get into the club and own the club, was basically through a deal that went wrong between Fergie and the owners of a horse. And the Glazers were able to buy the club. So what made Ferguson so great, and I'm not talking about necessarily the person, but what made Ferguson so great was the fact that he rebuilt this club, and that little tiny thing there, it's you can never hold that against him, right? The man rebuilt this club, so intrinsically built into this club, and ultimately that was, I think, part of the downfall of the club, was because he was so intrinsically linked. That sadly had an impact on getting the Glazers in, and then when he left, the board was so stupid. The people that they had in charge at that time, also at the same time that Ferguson left, Old Wash's Chops left as well. My brain's gone. What was his name that left at the same time? The old CEO left at the same time as well. So those two leaving they absolutely devastated the club. They basically took knowledge, history, everything out the club, and then the worst thing that they then did was let Ferguson pick the manager. There was no knowledge, as you say, Obu. There was no succession planning, nothing like that, and that is the worst thing that we did. It was awful. Like I said, we need two midfielders. I agree with you. Daz was at the 91 Winners' Cup jersey signed by Hughes and McClare. That's legendary, mate. That is absolutely quality. Daz, I absolutely love that. McClare, I love McClare. Daz, I am doing a tier list. So a video that I'm going to do, because there's not much out there. I'm not going to come on here and start to create shows where there's nothing at all. I'm going to do a tier list. So watch out for that. I'm going to do a tier list of strikers from 92, just purely because I know those strikers. I can't go back because I don't really remember strikers. So I'm going to rank. So I'm going to basically do a ranking of strikers from 91 to all the way to present day. So who do you think will be in goal for City, Bobby? I think that Binder will be in goal. In your opinion, who's the best player not to win the Champions League? So Buffon didn't win the Champions League. I think he's probably won as well. Who didn't win the Champions League? Buffon for me didn't win one, did he? I'm sure there's others. I just can't think off the top of my head now. R9 won one. Did R9 win one? Beckham. I'm just trying to think. Did Zlatan win one? Did Zlatan not win a Champions League? Because Zlatan didn't win with Barcelona, did he? He didn't win one with Did Zlatan win Champions League? I can't remember if he did. I don't think he did. I don't think he won a Champions League, did he? Jomu says it was all downhill to a horse. Exactly. That says he's going to stick Binder in goal. I agree with you. Sharon says, Baleba 99% not happening. What would be a realistic striker, in your opinion, for Barcelona next season? I don't think so. Baleba, I'm 50-50. I don't think it's 99% not going to happen based on we're not in it. I think I'm 50-50. Who do I think that Barcelona should get next summer as a striker? I think if I were them, money was no object, I'd go for Haaland. It's pie in the sky. Alvarez, I know Alvarez plays for Atletico Madrid, but I like him. Maybe, trying to think who's out there. Gyökeres, depending on how he does. If he doesn't have the best season, I mean, I think the problem is right now is all the best strikers or players have only just moved to clubs and have only just or have gone to like a rival club. So the only the only player that I could really see would move there would be like a Haaland, but will Haaland move there, and how much would Haaland cost? So I think Haaland, but that might be pie in the sky. Mate, Kraslin Shicking, I'm not even going to pronounce that. We have the best keeper. No, we don't. Zlatan, no. I can't remember who didn't win the Champions League. Altay, Binder is a beast. We need to talk about Binder. We can talk. We can talk about him, and we can talk about him really, really, really quickly. He's not very good. He's okay at kicking the ball. He's okay at ish, but Binder is not very good. It's simple as that. Camp Nou will be open this year. Barcelona will be able to spend the revenue. Exactly. I think they should go after a big striker. I would probably say Harry Kane. I think if they're going to go for a striker next season, I think they should go for Kane as a make weight. So go get Harry Kane. Wait until the stadium's been open like a year. Get Harry Kane in for maybe 2 years because I think he'll be good there, and then go get a big striker maybe because I don't know how long Haaland has signed for. I'd then go and pick, because you don't know if Shesko will be good. If Barcelona come in for him and we're not doing great, will he go there? So I think Barcelona should go for Kane as a stopgap, wait for the stadium, wait for the money, and then go big on a striker. Why talk about being his rubbish? Bobby, you don't know nothing. You, my friend, are going out on a timeout. Bobby, I've just timed you out, Bobby. I've timed Bobby out. No, I've timed Bobby out. Bobby, I've timed you out, mate. I've timed you out, Bobby. Bobby, I've timed you out. I meant to time this plonker out. Let me remove him. I've just timed Bobby out. Right. That's what happens when you get Wally's in the chat. Bobby, I'm going to untime you, my friend. That was my mistake. Look at that, eh? Shocking. I've just timed him out. That's not very good, is it? Just bear with me a second. Can't believe I've timed him out. That is shocking. Right. Where's Bobby? Have I timed him out? Or maybe I haven't. Maybe I've not. Maybe I've not. Bobby, let me know, mate, if I've accidentally blocked you, because I wasn't supposed to do that. I can't see you. I can't see you, Bobby. What a wally. Yeah, what a donut. This wally's getting okay. Hopefully you're okay. Yeah. Hopefully Bobby's. I think I've blocked Bobby. That is not good. Hide user on this channel? No. Honestly. Bobby, I apologise, my friend. Yeah, I think I have. Bobby must be a City fan. No, Bobby is a legend. I think I've timed him out. I can't untime him out. That is shocking. Right. What? I feel bad now. Right, I'm going to have to, after this stream, I'm going to have to try to find him. That's terrible. That's terrible. Bobby, I apologise. I've tried to block someone else, and I've just hidden your chat. That is terrible. Awful. On that note, I am going to go. Guys, it's been amazing. Bobby, I'm sorry. I am sorry. I blocked you. I will sort that out soon as I can, because I'm a prat. I think that's been established that I'm a prat. Dad says, I've been watching Lamens the past while he doesn't fold under pressure. No worries. Bobby will understand. I hope so. One thing about me, whenever I do things wrong, I do apologise. Yeah. So, guys, I'm going to go. Thank you again so much. Again, this show's been good. What I am doing, I don't know if you can see it on screen. I am going to do a tier list. It's not going to be live. Where's my thing gone? So I'm just going to give you a little sneak peek. I am going to be doing a little list there. I don't know if you can see that. So I am going to do a tier list of our strikers from 91 to 2. I'm going to rank them, and then you guys can let me know what you think about the list. So I'm going to do a different sort of show, just because there's not a lot of news around, and I'm not just going to spam stuff just because that's just not me. So guys, thank you so much. You know, as I'll say, I'm not going to do the line today, because that's more of an evening line. But you know who you are. You guys support the channel. You guys, Bobby supports the channel as well, and I've managed to block him. What a donut. I will go back and I will fix that. But yeah, guys, you support the channel. This channel is nothing without you. Whether you subscribe, whether you like, just whether you watch for a minute, a second, an hour, guys, is just unbelievable. As always, the chat gets better and better and better. You know, this is like a little family. Thank you, Daz. Yeah, we're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Get our community out there, because this community is getting bigger. It's a fantastic community. If you put sub mode on, you'll be able to gain. If you put sub mode on, you'll be able to gain more subs. Again, mate, I don't even know how the hell you do that. This is how much attention that I pay to this stuff. You know, I should do. I'm the worst person for doing this stuff. But yeah, I'll put all that stuff on there, Scott, mate. You're a legend as well. Thank you to the mods as well. If anyone wants to have a go at being a mod, let me know. I'll add you. The more mods, the better. You know, it really does help us out. Eventually, you know, if the channel gets bigger, if you become a mod, I'll do something. I will. So thank you, guys. If anything breaks, let me know. I'll jump on and I will report it. If I see anything that breaks, I'll jump on and report it as well. Watch out for some of the bigger channels. Yo, Mr. Joe Dickinson. Thank you, Zach. One, no idea what. Just yeah, Wally's on here today. Watch for the bigger channels on this stuff now. If you do see them and they do start to jump all over this, let them know where you saw this first. Give this community. I don't care about giving me any praise or whatever else. Give yourselves a praise. If you go into other places and you manage and they start to talk about this, best mark will do that. Exactly. So let them know where you saw this first. Let them know about your channel. This is yours as much as it is mine. You know, tell them that they're slow. And we've gone, and I guarantee they'll go through exactly the same conversations that we have. I just think that we do it better. We do it more authentically. Baleba was going, Benja, welcome, my friend. You watch. So tonight, if you see it on any of the bigger channels, give them hell. Tell them where you watched it first. Tell them about the community. Tell them that this community went first. And they're really, really slow. Guys, amazing stuff. I will be back at some point. If I'm not back, I will be doing a tier list, and that will be out soon. Benja, the Arsenal fan legend. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you really soon. Have a good afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. And I subscribed. Yes, you did, Benja. Yes, you did, Benja. I recognise the name, my friend. Legend of the chat. You guys all know. Yes, the boring Arsenal fan. You guys are fantastic. So I can only thank you for being here, guys. I do have to go. Benja, you're late to the show. You're late to the show. All right. I expect you to be here on time, even though I don't give you a warning about the show. No. I'll tell you, Amorin. Now you broke the news first. Tell Amorin. Tell the United stand. Tell AFTV. Tell them all that you heard it here first, and this community spoke about it first. And Benja, you're part of this now, mate. You can even claim it as well. Tell them that we broke it before anyone else, and stop trying to copy off us. All right, guys, wonderful show. You guys are amazing. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. I'll see you very, very soon. Take care, guys.